Hey guys, welcome to Brett's Projects. Today, working on the ute, and I'm doing something I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is to measure pressure in the exhaust manifold, or drive pressure or back pressure. I got this idea from the Turbo John YouTube channel. He's got a much better video on all this, so it'd be worthwhile checking that out. And it's fairly simple. You get yourself a cheap tyre pressure gauge. You pull this part out, and then you thread the end of it to, 1/8 MPT. Then you get yourself a oil pressure gauge fitting kit. So you get this copper line. And then you just thread your manifold, screw this end in, keep it nice and long because you want the length to get rid of the heat before it gets to the gauge. Then you just leave this in the engine bay. Go make a pass down the quarter or on the street, and it will record peak pressure. Like, as you know, a tyre pressure gauge, you put it on, it says 30 PSI, you push the button, it releases it. So it will record peak back pressure. So, like, this is cheap. This is like $30 total-ish to do that. So I thought at the same time, while I've got drive pressure, I'm going to measure boost pressure the same way. So I just got a nylon line for this one because there's no heat involved really. So that, got another fitting. So this will go in the inlet manifold, the plenum. This will go in the exhaust manifold before the turbo. And what these two numbers mean in relation to each other will tell you if you have too much back pressure, if your turbo is too small, if your housing's too small, and it'll give you a good idea of when your turbo is out of puff. So that's what I want to find with this thing, because I'm pushing about 18 to 20 pound in it at the moment, and I'd like to go a bit higher, but the last time I've adjusted this, like I went up half a turn or so, it didn't seem to do a hell of a lot. So I'm not sure if I'm running out of turbo or I just need to go stiffer on the spring, which I want to put a stiffer spring in it, or a different combination of springs in it today as well. So I've currently got 11 pound spring in it, and let's say I'm running 18 to 20 pound, which is nearly double the spring. So I'm going to put two 7-pound springs in, I think, to bring the gate pressure up to 14, and then I can adjust it up from there and hopefully get 24 or something. So I can go 11 and 7 and get 18 pound on gate, but if I do that, I'll probably just keep twisting this thing until it blows up. So I'm probably gonna go 7 and 14 pound gate and go from there, and then tweak it up a little bit with the T. But to fit that, inlet one's probably gonna go here. I think I've got an adapter to go up to that size, and then I'm gonna take the turbo off to get to the manifold to put it in there somewhere. So I'm not sure 100% where yet, but that's what we're gonna find out. So I'll start ripping this thing apart. And here we go. Okay, off she comes. Beautiful. Okay, just quickly, as I was taking the gate off, and now anyone who has played with an external gate knows that if you put pressure to it, it makes it a lot easier to take it on and off. The spring's not fighting you with this V-band. So I just hooked the line back up and put air pressure to this, and now my boost T is about 4 turns out. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how much you can hear it leaking. And if I hold this, with the compressor, it's bypassing that much air that's not opening the gate. So that tells me that my spring is definitely too weak. Normally, if you have a 10-pound spring, you should make roughly around 20 psi, give or take, depending on the combination, but you normally double your spring pressure by bleeding off the gate pressure, what I've heard. So that's why I've got an 11-pound spring in it. I'm roughly making 20-ish pounds of boost. It's pretty much out of spring, so I'll definitely be putting stiffer spring in it, or springs. But I'll get that off, and then I'll work out where I'm going to drill and tap for my back pressure sensor. Beautiful, have a look at that. So my fitting's in, flush with the inside, nice and tight. So that was easy. That's probably the easiest thread I've ever tapped. It started straight away, it threaded real easy. So beautiful, I'm really happy with that. So I'll just blow some of these shavings out and away, and I'll just start putting this junk back together. Okay, before I put it together, I better put a stiffer spring in this wastegate. So got it in the press, just a little bit of tension on it. Is that the right one? Kinda. Oh, that's kind of loose. Alright, undo that. Oh, that's as high as the press goes. That's a bit shit. Okay, so that's what came out of it. A red inner spring, which is 11 psi. What I've got in my stash is a purple inner, which is 7 psi, and a pinky purpley outer, which is 7 as well. So I want to run these two together, which should be 14 pounds of gate pressure. If I wanted to, I could run these two together, which would be 18 pounds of gate pressure, which I might go to later. I'll see how we go. And if I really wanted to party, this one's supposedly 14, but I'm not sure about because it's not a genuine Turbo Smart one, so it's a maybe. I could run 14 and a 7 and yeah, have 21. But I'm gonna go 7 and 7 first, see how that goes. I mean, 14, like kind of double, it's up around 28. I'm sure that's more boost that I'm gonna want to run through this motor, so this should be the go, but that's plan B. All right, I'll nip this up. What's funny is the last time these two springs were in this gate was when I blew the motor up last time and broke a piston or two. Okay, on with the turbo. Like a glove. Let's see, will it fit this way? Yes, it will. Okay, so here's how it's going to be for the time being. So out the manifold, which you can't see from here, does a whole bunch of loops to help get rid of the heat. Comes up and I've just got it zip tied there for now. I will probably make something that will hold this one and the boost one, but for the moment I just want to do this just to try it. Put this on. Okay, I think I've tightened everything. I think I've got enough zip ties. I think every hose is put on. So I'll fire it up and we'll see how it goes. right, everything seems fine. I gave it a few big revs and made some boost pressure, and the gauge didn't register anything, so I'm going to pull the gauge off, put the compressed air onto it, and make sure the gauge works. If it does, then I'll play with it more tomorrow. I've run out of time today because I am going to look at a new car. Now, when I say a new car, I mean 25-year-old shitbox. But if I get this car, it's going to be another project, and it's going to be fast. It's going to be faster than the Falcon, faster than this. So it's going to be interesting if I get this car. So you'll see that in a couple of weeks if that happens. But I'm going to end this episode off now. I'll keep playing with this tomorrow. So next episode, I will be putting the other gauge onto the plenum and then just driving around, upping the boost and seeing what numbers we get. So stick around for that. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.